Do you fancy yourself as a bit of a pro player on EA Sports FC? Monthly tournaments are going live at foottrading.co.uk. So not only will you get the buying and selling prices for every single card on this game, helping you make millions of coins guaranteed, you'll also automatically qualify for the tournament should you wish to enter. There'll be cash prizes for the people that do the best in the tournaments, and we're hoping to get into the esports side of things in the long term, so you guys can show us what you can do and hopefully get involved in that. So check out foottrading.co.uk for all your trading and playing needs. But for now, let's get into the video. Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a new video with me, Fuzzball40. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Over half of you that watch the videos aren't subscribed. I guarantee you I will help you make millions this year, and I guarantee you I'll be able to tell you how to grind packs so you'll never need to spend points again. Guaranteed. Simple as that. Make sure you drop a like and a comment. It makes a massive difference to the videos. Helps them to be pushed to more people. Really helps the channel to grow. So if you can do that, it's massively appreciated. But tonight is Trailblazers. And it looks like one of the most overpowered early promos we've ever seen on this game. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Now, something I'm going to say about all these promos and about the content and whatnot. I see a lot of people complain about the content, and you have to bear in mind we are quite early in the game, so content is a bit meh. Where I have a problem is that everything seems to be weighted towards these store packs, these big store packs, and it is becoming quite frustrating. So never has it been more important for you guys to trade to be able to get the best cards on this game, because for me, even if you are someone who spends points, that's your choice, you're still having to rely upon hitting something half decent to get anywhere near the top tier players. So make sure you get involved in trading and learn. Yesterday's video went over really easy investments, especially for those of you guys that are beginners to this. So make sure you check out yesterday's video. But this video is going to go over basically every single budget in terms of how you make coins tonight for Trailblazers. It's going to do from low budget to high budget and everything in between. We want to make sure that you guys make as many coins as possible from this. And with that, I'm going to give you one simple warning, okay? Every single Friday so far, the market has dropped, which is likely to happen again today. And just when you think it's dropped as far as it can go, it's dropped even further, okay? And it's important that you understand that you really need to be patient when it comes to your buys today. So we'll start with the low budget, and the low budget is really, really simple. You guys need to be looking at mass buying chem style players, okay? Every single week I've checked this, and every single week it's done really well. Basically at 6 PM, you're going to get a ton of packs opened up to go onto the store, okay? And what then happens is all the prices of these cards, especially the really low budget guys, drops heavily, significantly. At that moment, you guys are able to buy into these guys that are very, very low in value, but have a really decent gap with chem styles. So someone like Lynn Williams, she's someone I've told you guys about a few times before. She's very usable, she's very simple. And again, someone like Lynn Williams here is 2,700 coins with a hunter on her, okay? Now, if we go and check her standardly, I'm about to change the filter, but it does it automatically for me. As you see her sitting there for 900, 950. She's a really cheap player, even though she's got very decent stats, like a super sub or whatever. There's a nearly 2,000 coin gap on Lynn Williams, okay? Now, tonight, her price can't really drop any further, but she's going to be listed a lot. And as that's happening, Lynn Williams with Hunter is going to be listed constantly. Last week I checked and she got as low as 2.1k. Okay, so down to 2.1k, and the Hunters were relatively sitting there for at least a minute or two at a time. Now they got as high as 3.2 again. So my advice to you guys would be any sort of overpowered card that isn't overly popular. It's important that you understand that. We can't be just going for Ansu Fati, for example, because he's going to be flooded with Hunters on the market or whatever. Any half decent card that's remotely popular without being too popular, Shadows and Hunters, buying into them is a massive, massive thing. It is hugely profitable. We had people in the Discord last week doing it, and they made 100k in a night just by buying like 100 of these players. It is so simple, okay? So if you think Lynn Williams is someone like that, again, you can start to think about the similar sort of players. Pacey strikers, maybe pacey midfielders, pacey defenders. Really in EA Sports FC, pace seems to be king again. So anything like that is very, very decent, okay? Outside of that, you guys can think about investing into consumables. If we get mega packs, consumables will do really well. They'll drop off quite significantly. You can invest in fodder, get fodder right down very, very low. You can buy into fodder. Again, the advice would be buy one of each and stick them in your club. So let's say 85s get down by a K or two, buy a load of each, stick them in your club. You might not make the profit straight away from them, but you will see profit eventually, and they will jump quite significantly once the content starts to really ramp up. So that's what you guys can do at low budget. Now let's talk mid to high budget, right? I'm going to show you can see that in a second. Going to start by looking at the road to knockouts. I've talked about this already. Again, what happened to road to knockouts was as they were coming out of packs, they dipped and dipped and dipped. Now, bear in mind, this was with a huge amount of market panic that these guys did this. I don't think the drop-off will be quite as dramatic as it is here. But it dropped off and climbed. And this happened to pretty much every single road to knockout Team 1 player, okay? Every single one tended to do this trend. Now, if we look at someone like Luka Modric today, again, he's been sort of in and around the same price here. Slight climb, again, which we saw. And he's dropped off gradually. Now, Luka Modric is going to do one of two things. He's either going to bang because he links to Bellingham, or he's going to get hit because he links to Bellingham and Bellingham replaces him, basically. I think Modric will do quite well. I think there's a few of the cards in that sort of road to knockout team too. Anybody that's sort of above 50k is a relatively safe bet. I think Modric gets down tonight. I think he gets listed up. I think the whole market dips tonight. And if Modric gets down to maybe 200, 210, I'll probably be interested in buying a few of him and holding him for a few days to rise. I'm not live tomorrow because I'm at the football, so I can just hold and let cards rise up in value, basically. So I'm not too stressed about that. But the road to knockouts have been, so far this year, very good to trade with. Then we'll look at Team of the Weeks, okay? So I want to show you Team of the Weeks. Again, as they sort of come out of packs, and like they obviously Lamptey here is and whatnot, they do tend to dip a little bit and rise, and then they sort of keep going up from there. I'm going to show you Talisca. Again, impacts was here, rose a little bit, sort of held his value, really rose a little bit, and then by the Friday dips off massively and then climbed up again. And now he was 12k on average here. Bear in mind you probably could get him, and I know people did get him at 11.5k. He's now up at 16,000 coins. That's a really healthy profit margin for a card that's that cheap. That's really, really good. Mohamed Salah, again, 533k currently. When he was in packs, boomed and boomed and boomed until the Monday, Tuesday, which always tends to be this weird high point. Then dropped off the face of the earth, then climbed again, get again to Monday to Thursday, Friday. That Saturday that I told you guys about last week, that the market really dropped heavily on the Friday and then bounced back into the Saturday, dips off before bouncing back quite handsomely again. These are all cards that you can be looking at depending on your budget. Now, Federico Valverde, probably one of the best midfielders on the game this year, this card. Unbelievable card again at this stage of the game. He has just been on a relatively downward trend because he's such a high-powered, highly expensive card. Again, he might be affected by Bellingham tonight, so you have to bear in mind. But you have three really good, solid Real Madrid centre midfielder options now. So you have to bear that in mind. They can link each other really well, or they can affect each other. That's the point. But he's dropped down, basically. And if we look at his hourly graphs, you can see it's just like held high at the beginning and then just dipped off. He's had moments where he's gone back up again. But really, to me, we're seeing his more accurate price now. We'll probably see an even more accurate price after the weekend. That will give you more of a point. But again, if he gets low enough, I probably would be interested in him. Maybe for me, I'd just buy one of them. But that's sort of like your mid-high budget in terms of those cards. If we're talking towards the sort of lower budget end, cards like these DRBs and these sort of, I want to say like mid cards, but some of these cards are still very, very good cards. They've done really well, and every time I think they're going to die, they don't, okay? So if we look at like DRB, dip down, again, remember these are average prices. It might say here he was 46, but during that day you would have been able to get him at 43, 44, and he probably got as high as 48, so you have to bear that in mind. But last week when we saw the dip off in DRB, I was like, oh, he's dead now, and what happened? It completely bounced back again. As low as 37, back up to 47 again. That's a massive, massive rise. Again, that's a huge profit in a card like this. But you've got to be patient with these cards. Now, he's got back up to 43 again. So as I told you before, they rise to a certain level, then dip down below that. Then they rise back, but never quite get back to that price again. Again, DRB tonight, if you know his low was 37 last week, you want him lower than that in order to buy into him. You want him down at the 34, 35 mark in the hope that he gets back up to maybe 40k this time. But gold cards, the general trend is down, but it doesn't mean just down in one line. It's down and slightly back up again. Then down further and slightly back up again, but not quite to that previous high. That's how they work. Marcus Llorente. This card, I will never understand how this card is so cheap this year when last year he had a very similar card that was so much more expensive. But for some reason, people don't fancy Llorente. But again, he's had these sort of downward trends, 20 up to 23, 11 up to, 14 here. as a rough average. Again, you'll get him at lower than that, and you will be able to sell him at higher than that. Again, for Marcus Llorente, we know that his low the other day was 11.3, and he's basically at that low right now. So for me to be interested in him tonight, I'd want him at sort of 8 to 9k. Whether he gets that low is another matter. But the big move, I think, for a lot of people that have got higher budgets is going to be in icons. This is where I think a lot of coins can be made. So I'm just going to show you a couple to start with. Alessandro Del Piero, again, for me, he's more towards the higher budget, because if you were to buy 2 of him, you'd need over 1 million coins on your account. Not a lot of people have that right now. Some do, and that's great, but a lot of people don't. But again, Del Piero here up to a high, back down again to 547 on the Friday. Bounced right back by the Friday here to 677. Bang, that back down again. Back right up again. It's a really good trend. Every time Friday comes round, lots of packs are being opened. These cards dip off. Casillas, he's 263 at the moment. Probably a little bit more than that, because that one's probably been bought. But again, up here at 340, dips down to 237. Up to 312. Dips down by the Sunday to 248. Back up again to 281. There are big up and down trends with these icons, and they can be really, really good. The difficulty in tonight has been some cards reach their low on the Friday, late Friday. Some cards reach their low on the Saturday. All you're really looking to do is buy at a price that you think, right, this is steady. I'm relatively happy at this point. Some cards really got to their low at like midnight last Friday, which is a very, very difficult time for most people to buy. And when I talk about these times, I talk about UK times. That's a really difficult time for most people to buy. So if you think a card's at its low, then the chances are it's not quite there yet. What you have to think about doing is sniping and getting really big undercuts. So let's say you were to buy a Casillas tonight. You know that he's had lows of 248, 237. You'd want to be sniping at that level and below. So you want to get him. Let's say tonight he did get down to 248. You probably want to undercut at like 238 to really give yourself the safety barrier, the safety net that you need. So let's say you did buy at 238 tonight and he gets back to, because it wouldn't surprise me, back to 260 again. You lose 5% in tax when you sell him, which takes you 13k off, right? So 260 gets you down to 247, that's 9k a card. Isn't the greatest return in any way, shape or form for someone that you're putting that sort of coins into. So you've really got to be patient in letting him rise, and you've really got to be patient in letting him drop. And now, don't just focus on Casillas, because you will sting yourself if you just all go for the same card. But also, one final thing, for those of you guys that are low budget, look to the 83s and 84s that are not quite discard yet. There's one card in particular that I bought into last week that did really well. I'm not going to say it in this video just because I know a few people use him and I don't want to ruin the investment for them. But those 83s and 84s, all you've got to do is go to FC24 players, and you can go pretty much gold rare, because that's the one you're going to go for. And your idea is to go, let's go overall rating 83, overall rating 84, and we're going to apply that filter. Again, you want to look at these guys that are dipped off or whatever price they are. Those guys that are just ever so slightly above discard. So I'm trying to think of the likes of Martinelli, maybe, Guimaraes, potentially Tchouaméni. These guys will get very, very low tonight, like really low tonight. And again, when it comes to buying these cards, they always have a fairly hefty dip off before a climb, fairly heavy dip off before a climb. Again, if you know where the dip offs have been before, as low as 3.2, he's 3.6, you want him down again a lot further than 3.2, so maybe 2.6, maybe even lower than that. They're the sort of ways you invest in these guys, alright? I'm going to be live on Twitch directly after this video, so if you want to check me out on Twitch, I'll help you with all your trading, everything you need to know. I will be live over on Twitch, the link is down below. But if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe down below, make sure notifications are turned on so you never miss an upload. But for now, I'm out, peace out, I'll speak to you soon.